hi, hello, and welcome to the Afterparty. I'm Amanda McLoughlin, and I hereby deny responsibility for any claims to car crashes, broken glasses, sore throats, yelling, breaking your phone because you text messaged too many exclamation points.
You texted too
etc.
hard. I pressed too hard on my Galaxy 4 and then it broke in half.
Wow, you don't have to call Jake out right now.
As a result of the reveal of my big secret. Thank you for coming. An ASL interpretation is available via text message.
Let's look to the judges. Oh, 0s out of 10s, unfortunately.
0s out of 10s on everything. Yeah. I think you owe Brandon and I an apology for the emotional distress and shock that we went through.
Hey, Amanda, can I talk to you over here for a second?
Yeah. What's up?
Hey. You don't have to tell them shit. You fucking drink it out of a cup. You get a big straw and you slurp it up. That's what keeps us young. We were taking children. We were taking the blood of Christian children before, but now it is
now
what the fuck's
WTF.
from actual play. Yes.
Yeah, Eric, I wondered why I woke up this morning and my back wasn't sore and my skin was clear and the cut I got on my thumb had healed automatically. And it's your WTFs.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
I bet you could sleep on the floor at Bonnaroo.
I bet you're right. I could sleep standing up next to the porta potties and be like, I'm fresh. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Hey, Julia, come here for a second. Come over here for a
Yeah,
second.
hey, Brandon, what's up?
Julia, we could just go on strike.
We could.
You want
Solidarity.
Okay, but guys, seriously, I have something very important to reveal to you, which is, yes, this was a secret from Julia and Brandon. You heard them in real time put this together, and it was delicious. But secondly, while appreciated, your Amanda WTFs really need to be Eric WTFs, because this is how the secret came about.
This is how we do it.
Bow, bow, bow. This is
I was just
how
picturing
we
a
made
butterfly, kind of dancing in the club, and it was great.
And a boy
That's
band.
adorable.
What was that, Amanda? What was that children's show you watched all the time? Was it Zoom?
It was Zoom, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there was like 15 seconds of like badly animated
12-year-olds
dancing around. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cyber Chase is the one that we watched recently.
Yes.
Anyway, Troy Riptide's name did come to me fully formed, whole cloth in Julia's kitchen. I thought to myself, Troy Riptide, first thought, best thought, love it. And
Amanda truly said that to me.
Yeah, exactly. Butterfly Gunslinger, Troy Riptide. And then the next day at work, Eric and I were, talking. I was like, hey, this is the Gunslinger. Let me go through the class, make sure I know what it's all about. And Eric, to my memory, you asked me about Troy's backstory. And I was like, oh, God, I don't know. And you said, well, do you want him to be part of the royal family? And I was like, oh, I don't know. That seems kind of like odd. And then you go, what about if he's secretly a royal? And I said, ink it, baby.
Jot it down. It's happening.
Secret Prince, write it down.
Oh my God.
So that's the origin story. I am not solely responsible. I've had so much fun keeping a secret from you guys. I'm so sorry. It's been delightful. But I do. This is a co-creation, Eric WTF, as played by me. And I very much enjoyed it.
WTF collabo, yeah.
I'm almost a little disappointed because we had a conversation after this episode finished, and it was truly buck wild, and we'll get to the reasons why 18 felt so buck wild in terms of all of these reveals and stuff like that. But Amanda, at one point we were talking about it, and I was like, oh, you knew this the whole time? And Amanda was like, yeah. And I was like, and Eric, you pointed out to me that you're like, Julie, you guessed this. And we had to reel it back in because we didn't want the reveal to happen too early. And I pulled up in the transcript, episode 14, where Troy goes, yeah, no, this is my crew now. And me, Troy Riptide, a normal guy from the Crags, is best friends with these crewmates. They are my crew. And anything about what's happening in the Crags isn't super relevant to me anymore because I'm just normal here on a ship with my bros.
God.
And then I, as an aside, went, hey, Umbi, why did Troy say he was normal 5 times? And then Brandon said 7 times. I don't know. I said, yeah, it's weird. And then I say, do you think Troy is royalty? Oh my gosh. Brandon goes, oh shit. And I said, Troy might be secret royalty. And then I forgot that.
Yup.
Fully forgot it.
Yup.
Just flew out of my brain after I made that quote unquote joke.
Because I thought you were making a genuine, just like, wouldn't it be funny if, ha ha ha, there's no way.
But like the blood drained from my face in that moment. I was like,
And
man, like
Amanda, I didn't notice. Didn't fucking notice at all.
After that episode, I'm like, Amanda, ease up.
Yeah.
What? Three Lips is like, yeah, I got it. Okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then like I'm going back again, going through transcripts. I'm like, why the fuck does Lily Rose, a person you grew up with, not know your last name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I'm like, the clues are all there.
But Julia, that moment was really for me like when I started thinking about when this reveal was going to happen. And so here's the thing. So when Troy unfurls his wings for dramatic effect in the second round to help win, Eric kind of gave me a look in that moment, like, are you sure? And I said, I want to do this. And then after the session, he's like, that like everyone, like you are related to the Breakstones, right? And like all the guards from the Crags are gonna know who you are. And I'm like, yeah, no, cat's out of the bag. I know it. We all know it. Crags people are here. Like Troy is ready. And it was very exciting. Like Eric and I didn't rehearse that conversation was going to go that way. I had no idea the reveal was going to happen with Three Lips in that moment. It really hit home for me, like so much role playing. I feel like I am getting some kind of, free therapy through this podcast. But it was truly amazing. And Eric, I think you played it incredibly well.
Yeah, I was thinking about revealing the wings in 17 during the slam dunk round, as I've been calling it. Is like, did you read a bunch of the articles surrounding like the royal weddings and then of course like the new coronations of like when the old queen who died, when she was like wearing different jewelry and how different jewelry means different things. It's like, when I wore this, it symbolizes this because it's related to this political thing, or I got this from this person, so that's what it's metaphorical for. I was thinking it's like that's how I feel about Troy's wings. Is like when people see Troy's wings, it's like, oh, you're a Habsburg. Like I know it. You are a Breakstone. You have the same patterning as everyone else in the current royal family at the Crags. If you know what you're looking for, and I thought that's why it was so important and why the Crags guards all were like, yeah, okay. We're all like, I thought that was the prince, but now I know. Okay.
I love that.
And do you want to know my headcanon for why Troy's wings are clipped? Again, we decided this because Eric said, you could be any creature you like, but no one can fly because that'll fuck up my mechanics. And I said, fair. My headcanon is that the non-firstborn of every would-be royal family has their wings clipped as a kind of insurance against like fratricide and sort of insurrections from within the family.
That's incredible.
I mean, I hate it, but I love it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Michelle had the same idea. Michelle literally hit that on the head. Michelle Spurgeon said, are Troy's wings clipped as a message to his brother that he won't challenge the throne?
Not self-clipped, but like a thing that parents who are, royally ascendant do. And probably some do it to their sons as well because they don't want to pass on the line. But that's what I've been thinking from the beginning about his wings. So he can't fly. I don't think there will be a way for him to fly in the campaign, just like,
except for magical means.
Exactly, like permanently. But man, that magical moment Cammie assisted, it was incredible.
That was fun. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I was like, what if Troy flew?
Do either of y'all have an idea of what the Breakstone wing pattern looks like?
Yeah, it's a specific type of butterfly. I think Amanda said it in the first episode, and it's the pattern from the character art.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, so the first three things I wrote down about Troy are, one, I found this butterfly, which has a very cool, like racing, like checked, like racing flag, yellow and black pattern with a gray, like stained glass on the bottom half of the wings, and the top half of the wings are black with like gray feathers. It looks very beautiful. The scientific name of this butterfly is Troides hypolitus. And so then I wrote down Troides Hyperion Breakstone, cover Troy Riptide.
Oh my God, Christ. Amanda!
I was wondering where you got Troy from.
Troy. You ever think about what my name would be if it was Trey? Another great line from that episode.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, there are several questions here that Eric, you've gathered from the Discord. Here's one from Kelly Griffiths, who said, how does this fit in with the earlier Troy backstory? And then Malignant Sloth really built on that by saying, did I know that Troy was related to Hyperion even in the Legends of the Past episode? And the answer is like, yes, absolutely, the entire time. They continue, Troy even made the pact with Three Lips and Rob that he was going to go be a pirate and bring back something for them. Fuck the Royals? Was that something that changed before he actually left? So in my head, everything Troy said to the crew and in the first, 15 episodes was true, where he was an unimportant, like, 7th or 8th son, nothing coming to him, via the royal line. He did go into the army because, like, what do you do with your superfluous sons if you are a a royal family? You send them into the army. And I think he realized there that he, if he wanted to make a name for himself outside of his brother's shadow, and if his brother is going to get, killed one of these days, like all the rest of the royals in the crags, then, what can he do except try to, like, sort of win and get glory another way? So I think that that mission's becoming more complex for him as he realizes truly in this conversation with Three Lips that his actions have consequences on other people, which is a very young himbo man thing to realize too late when you are already grown, and kind of thinking, like, I don't know what Troy would ask for if he found the salmon right now. And that's been a very fun journey to, like, think about as we've been playing.
I love that.
Yeah, that episode, I do urge everyone to go back to that episode, the flashback episode, and re-listen to it now. Because, like, I was like, Amanda, I intentionally did not say the species of Hyperion the Haggard.
I noticed that now.
That was very important to me that I did not say, because Hyperion is also a butterfly, exactly the same like Troy.
Yes. That was the one thing that I slipped up on. And if you recall, listeners, we recorded all of those separately. And so when Eric and I were recording the Troy one, he asked me, like, oh, who is the king right now? And I said, oh, Hyperion is a butterfly. And then we stopped the tape and Eric was like, I think that's too much. And I was like, oh, no, you're right. So we, like, went back and retook that. But
I had to cut it out.
Oh my God. I was about to ask Brandon if he had heard that.
You son of a bitch.
I cut it out from the DAW and I bounced the new file when we sent the audio to
that
Brandon.
Episode was such a nightmare to try to sync up, and now I'm realizing why.
Yeah, that explains
That's
it.
why.
That explains it. Wow.
I'm a spy. I did it.
He put the glove on before
bastard.
editing the DAW.
You're right. That's why it was out of sync, Brandon, because I had a big glove on while I was trying to do it.
So here's a question for everyone from Three's the Charm. They say, asking for myself as someone playing 16 secrets stacked in a trench coat, is this how I imagine Troy being royalty coming to light? And for everyone, how do you handle your character's secrets? Eric, do you know everybody's secrets?
I think that's a good question to start. Eric, do you know everyone's secrets?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it might be different for all three of my players.
Hold on a second. Is this question, Julia, are you implying that you have secrets?
Who can say?
Julia, if you have secrets that are going to be revealed, and I'm
to yourself, it's so fun to reveal.
With no secrets.
I revealed one in this episode, which is how Cammie became a pirate, which was she straight up got kidnapped.
Yeah,
that was a big deal too.
I don't like sad secrets.
Yeah, no. But it wasn't like a bad kidnapping. It was just like, oh, you're lucky, let me take you. And then Cammie was like, I like this life.
Yeah. I think I know all of Amanda's secrets because, for example, I think I would have started to know Julia's secrets, but Julia might have a secret she reveals to me. Brandon might have secrets from himself.
Listen, sometimes you come up with secrets on the fly, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I didn't really have when I created Cammie, I did not have the Baba Rutabaga stuff in my head.
Yeah.
That was a kind of collaboration between Eric and I. So I feel that. I get it.
If there was someone to keep a secret from me, it would be Julia. But Brandon has secrets from everyone, including himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think Umbi as a character like has secrets in that like he just kind of lives his life boldly, like without hiding anything. Like he
right,
just
like
Dominic
Toretto.
Dominic Toretto, yeah. Because it's like he's been a senator his whole life and he's old, and when you're a person of some renown, and you age into your age, like you just kind of like lose the shame that comes with like holding secrets,
I was more talking about like the do I know you mechanic and things like that. They were things
I see.
The way that Brandon rolls, it's the tables and randomness loves him, so we keep finding new things that
true.
are not planned and then turn into other things.
Yeah, like you try to force adultery on me.
Brandon, this is what happens. You say something wild. Eric says, okay. And then you say, why did you do this to me? And Eric goes, you just
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
No, excuse. Well, that may be true, Amanda. But in this case, Eric made that joke, and I was like, "That's a hilarious ass."
You
joke.
weren't in the room. That happened. That's because you intentionally were not in the room.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. No, that was tight. I miss that avocado man who's dead, and so are all of his family.
Sorry, but he was in the spider webs. He could still be alive.
It's true.
No, I think he was a smear on the wall.
He was a smear on the wall.
No,
all of his lineage were in the spider webs.
He defo died.
Bummer. Anyway.
See, characters die in this campaign, folks.
It's true.
It's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
It happens.
Sometimes in dark ways, sometimes by being hilariously falling down a
the longest flight of stairs that's
longest flight of
ever,
stairs
ever
with cocaine
existed.
We have to wait to get to that. We have to wait to get to that.
18 was full of so much stuff.
It was. I know. Here.
All right. Let's start from the beginning.
Let's run it back. So in episode 16, we meet the other competitors. We bond with the pirates around the bonfire, talking about what the salmon is, which is an incredible conversation that I was just like, what do you guys think? And we were all like, oh my gosh, philosophical meditation, like just coming up with it on the fly. Umbi tries to sabo Archimedes, but Archimedes loves you. And we see Three Lipses sort of spiraling, sort of into the confrontation we end up seeing in 18.
Yes.
So players, any feelings, any questions, anything that you loved or stands out to you from that episode?
Eric, I'm really glad that you worked with me to kind of come up with a mechanic for the on-the-fly tea readings.
Yeah.
And that was really
so fun.
Really fun, very cool. Loved trying to be able to like kind of parse your idea of what these readings could be. And in particular, really liked the kind of like way that I could manipulate Three Lips with that. And also like the mystery of Radbert, who seems like just a dude right now, but had a really weird reading. So I was like, interesting.
Yeah. It was kind of actually the reverse of how we did your premonitions in the beginning of Monster of the Week, the Monster of the Week game. So I thought I felt like I was doing, we were looking through it like the other way of the kaleidoscope. Right.
Yeah.
So that was real. That's where I pulled from. But it's like
I just love premonitions in tabletop RPGs, man. I just think they're fun.
True. And
so fun.
And it turns out they're relevant. I mean, like, here's the thing about tea readings. If you're actually someone who can see the future a little bit, who has an ability called tassiography, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have loved if you had read Troy's tea leaves and it had been like, oh, you're a royal?
I 100% would have done that. Yeah, 5,000%. I would have. It would have been like, I don't know the tarot. I don't know the tarot deck well enough, but it would have been
just mix things up. It
would have been like the tower, and as in that it stands tall and it's important and people look at it and blah blah blah. I would have 100% would have done something like that.
Yeah, it would have been like the emperor.
Yeah,
You'd be like, weird.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, let's get into some audience questions. This is from Jay Powers. Very important. What does Smelly Haze's body smell and taste like?
Well, it smells like, as we've established, rotten cat food or old cum.
Or those pear trees.
Yes.
Well, that's what those pear trees smell like.
Yeah, that's what those pear trees smell like. Bradford pear.
I just wanted listeners to know that Julia is not like making this up from experience. Like it says on the Wikipedia page, smells like old semen.
Does it really?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so it wasn't just me.
No.
That is definitely the vibe.
Shout out to your nasty, nasty girl, Mother Nature.
Shout out
Julia made the most ridiculous face. Like, I'm gonna roast Julia. I was like, nope, that is Mother Gaia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It ain't me, it her. Yeah. And then what does she taste like?
Yep.
I don't know. She's a tree. She tastes like wood, I guess.
You can decline and just say that's a rude question.
Well, so no, they're probably asking because we said she was a Bradford pear. Bradford pears are flowering, but they don't have like edible fruit. They have these like little tiny
nasty berries.
Nasty berries. But they don't. You can't eat them.
I'm writing down that NPC name. Nasty berries.
Nasty berries.
I know. I was about to say that's what they called me at college, Eric.
They still did call you that in college.
Here's one from Saved Man 97. I'm sure others will ask too, but can we hear more about the meeting people chart? I assume it was a dual chart, hence the two D10s, with one being the type of person and one being the circumstance or something to that effect.
This was very good, and I didn't realize at the time, like, one, you hear me in the episode be like, Eric, why did I just get a woman who confessed a murder to me and then walked away? And then Troy got like a person that he knew from his past. And you're like, because it's randomized, Julia, I'll send you the chart. And I was like, okay, fair enough. I hope I see that old lady again.
Hopefully.
Me too.
Yeah.
She's living her best life, so.
I really like the experience of just everyone being let out from a big stadium. I have that experience a lot when I go to basketball games, especially Madison Square Garden, because there's like only one entrance and exit really there. So it's like
Seems safe.
everyone leaves at the same time. And it's underground. That's the extra fun part. You're going from very far
Seems
above
safe.
ground and then to underground. So I just kind of like that experience and letting you bump into people as well. And then I just wanted to see what would happen. And some things I wanted to be plot relevant and other things weren't. And I think it ended up being up to you. What was that? The one that I did to Julia specifically just so happened to be very funny.
Yes. Especially to start it off.
Yeah. So let me read out explicitly what I have written for all of your pairings, and then we can go further into the table. Because again, hey folks, this was just 2 sets of 10 things that I paired together. The first one were types of people, and the second thing were wants, and what do they want from you. So the first pairing was Julia 1, which is an incredibly old person wants to tell you a secret.
And the secret was murder.
I love it.
So good.
Yeah.
You have kind eyes.
The second one I think was Amanda 1, which was someone unexpected from your past wants to get something valuable from you. And that was Lily Rose trying to figure out what Troy's doing. And that was valuable. The one from Brandon was, teens who are rapscallions want to know why you're here.
Just guys, the dice don't lie. They don't lie.
Dice don't lie.
The dice love to fuck with Brandon.
They do.
They do.
That's what I
want everyone to know that could have been anyone. Anyone could have done an up dog or a mind goblin, but it just so happened it happened to the old man.
Incredible.
And then we had Amanda 2. Amanda 2 was the mayor. The mayor wanted to know why you're here, so it ended up being kind of just a glad-handing session. Julia 2 was someone unexpected from your past.
Smelly Haze.
Wants to offer to help you. Bing, bang, boom.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
then the Brandon 2 was a coworker on the sea wants to teach you about Dr. Radish.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was specifically a Dr. Radish thing, but there you are.
Yeah, so that was
I got
Bernie.
that book.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So, and then some other ones. I mean, there were some other fun pairings.
Yeah. Eric, Saved Man wanted to know if there was a combo you really wanted to see.
Yeah, I wanted to reveal. Number 5 was a friend of yours, so an NPC we knew. Number 4 was a family member or a wife of a very powerful person that I thought would have been fun. And then number 10 was the literal spirit of competition.
Oh, but we ended up seeing him anyway, so that's...
Yeah. That was there. That was definitely there 2 episodes earlier. And then some wants... number 5 was invite you to their secret club.
Oh,
that would have been tight.
Yeah, I want to hear like ideas of what that would have been.
Yeah, I wrote down, we're not like any old sea monster cult. We're a cool sea monster cult.
Classic.
Number 6 was to announce that you're blessed/incredible. I had read on Twitter recently that Mother Teresa liked to go around and just say that random children were going to be like the coming of Christ, and she did it a lot. Apparently,
that's
wild. I thought it was just really wild, so I included that.
She's just giving kids, like young people, confidence, you know,
or like intentionally fading them, you know.
One or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. And then number 1 was get closer to Troy, which I thought would have been interesting depending on who got that one.
Yeah, it definitely would have been like Lucky Edie or something.
Yeah,
like
Lucky Edie. Because she said that she was probably gonna go, so I was ready for her to show up. For her to show up again if needed, from the NPC one.
Good.
Yeah.
Fucking Lucky Edie.
Yeah, I know. She's my favorite. She's the best. I just love dropping her in when I want to cause conflict now.
Damn you and your love of conflict.
Every time she comes up, I just want to like say the most neutral statement that is possible. Just like, hello, I acknowledge your presence.
And it's just so funny for me because Cammie feels like a character who does not dislike people very much.
sure.
And so when you're like, yeah, you don't like this person, I'm like, okay. Well, how do I express that?
Yeah. I was also wondering if you were going to run into Arello earlier as well as another person who I said was going to be there, but later on. So that would have been another place for you to run into random people. But then I ended up just like having him show up anyway.
Yes. Instead, he was just drunk at a party.
Classic
with us, and we're like,
Arello. Arello was just Arelloing it up. Yeah.
Just Arelloing it up.
I assumed incorrectly, I guess, that the spirit of competition was sort of like a genie in a lamp situation. He couldn't leave his castle. But I guess not.
Apparently not. Apparently not. Apparently he's just a dick.
A murdering dick.
Don't look coquettishly at me when I say that. Damn
ooh.
you.
And now we have a corner that I think, Eric, you've been working on names. We'll close with the names. So just, folks, keep a pin in this one. But this is what I'm just going to call for the moment a series of great questions from Malignant Sloth.
Yes. I think that we're getting to the point where Malignant Sloth because Malignant Sloth has asked plenty of questions before on recent after parties. But Malignant Sloth gave so many good questions in this particular series of episodes that I feel like that they're getting up there with the question surgeon about nicknames for them. I have some that I want to float to you right now.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
first is Nasty Berries.
I'm gonna veto that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Okay,
no.
that's fine. All right, hey, first thought, best thought. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so I have, so we could do one that's like a motto. So slow and steady, Malignant Sloth. But then I'm also looking for some rhymes here, and turns out, and trying to rhyme with the word sloth is really fun. So I have some questions. Quoth the sloth. That's a slant rhyme. It's next to each other.
Cute.
It's question broth from Malignant Sloth.
Ooh. Making that soup.
And then it's so frothy. It's so frothy from the question slothy.
I think
They're all incredible.
I think I like the broth one the best.
That one's the most like very similar to the question surgeon one. It's definitely the most like pattery.
Yes.
Pithy.
Yeah. I think you have to be like, all right, it's time to get into the soup with the whatever the fuck you said.
Get into the
something
question,
broth.
bro. Let's
No, here we go.
Let's
Here we go,
slide
guys.
into
Ready?
the warm
Guys,
soup.
guys. I'm gonna do some live sound design. All right,
Do
ready?
it. Do it.
Okay, Brandon, just take some notes here.
Yep.
Time for question broth from Malignant Sloth.
Great.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
perfect. No notes.
That's it.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
we
you.
got it.
Thank you, Eric. Malignant Sloth, you will find your official scepter of naming in the mail. And by the way, I've been cooking on Library Chick. I think Library Chick deserves a moniker for all the Australian goods. Perhaps the Postmaster. That's what I've been thinking
That's
about.
Ooh, that's nice.
I actually haven't been able to tell you. Library Chick sent us more stuff because there's even more needlework that got lost in the mail and sent us more stuff. And there's prezzies for all of us.
Oh, the Postmaster.
So
Well,
excited.
the Postmaster's getting a joke in hot and fresh off the presses, folks. But we'll tell you about that in the mid-roll. All right.
Just by the way, Postmaster, the pork belly potato chips that you sent me are perhaps the best potato chips I've ever eaten. And I'm not going to ask you for more, but I'm just saying I like weird potato chips. So
The potato chips from that one Tasmanian company are crazy good. The finger lime one was also really good.
And the chicken.
Yeah, the chicken.
the lemon chicken was out of this world. I didn't try the finger lime one, so I'll have to try those.
It was
next
like
time,
it
but-
was
really
like a twist on
Like
salt and vinegar,
right?
but it was like even more
Nice.
acidic. Yeah,
Oh, so good.
because Library Chick is from Tasmania, from that area of Australia,
Fuck
and
yeah.
they had this one company makes the craziest flavors of chips that are like Tasmanian inspired. They're
Inspired.
inspired by the local flora and fauna.
Very
so
cool.
good.
Incredible.
Love it.
All right, folks, let's all take a nice warm cup of question broth from Malignant Sloth.
Yep.
How does Umbi feel about Archimedes being his little follower? I know you mentioned he's loving it, but how does he feel about it as an outcome of having poisoned him? Does he hope to help shape his potential future buildership, or is he just no thoughts, head empty, having fun? Brandon, this might be a secret to yourself, but let's uncover it together.
No, I don't think it. I was actually going to say earlier, one of my favorite things about that episode, Eric, was listening back or remembering how doomy and like spooky and imposing.
Yes.
You made Archimedes sound in the beginning, and then just switching him on a dime to a little like golden retriever puppy. It was so good.
I distinctly remember, because I knew I had planned ahead of time that that's how Archimedes was going to respond. And I remember you going, "Oh no, the consequences of my action."
Oh no, not again.
No, I love it. I mean, like I not head empty, like full on head full. Let's go. I love this.
Head
That's
full, loving
commitment.
it.
Commitment to
commitment, baby.
I also, my favorite first line from Archimedes was, "I don't have availability for that," which is hilarious.
Eric, it's you, like, you are playing like 5 to 10 characters per episode, and each of them is so distinct. Like,
Mhm.
if occasionally we've asked you like, "Oh, who's that?" or like, "Which is that?" Like when you were playing 20 superheroes in like near the denouement of campaign 2,
Right.
we'd be like, "Oh, which one was that?" That has not happened at all, because I think your voices and your cadence and just the word choice that each of these characters has is like exceptional.
Stop.
It also helps that they're all like bugs and plants, so we can be like, "Oh yeah, the dung beetle person."
Honestly,
sure, great.
that's really helping me. It's that they
Nice.
feel more distinct in my head because I can make them different speech.
Not people.
Not people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of just
Mhm.
like, you're the one. Oh, you're the smart girl with the mushroom man. Duh.
smart
You're the
teen.
smart teen.
Sure.
Oh
Yep.
God. So it's helping. You know, it's fun. I mean, I feel like I'm just pulling from like good character tropes, but it's nice being
Yeah.
able to like lean on that stuff, because being able to bring like the standards of fiction, I guess, to improvisational storytelling is just like it makes me feel like I'm doing a little bit of a flourish, because like, you know, I imagine a lot of this stuff happening in One Piece, and you know, an imposing character getting owned and then flipping it around and being like, "I love it when you owned me." He's like, feels very that to me, but I'm glad that I
Yeah.
could like. Then he's like, here's this basketball, Brandon. Even though it's a basketball and you can buy 100 of them at the store, I have given you a present. And I think that that's a nice way to think about like storytelling. It can be basic, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Eric, did you buy me a basketball?
Did you get Brandon a
Did you give me a
basketball?
basketball?
I'll never tell.
Is it that cool 90s blue and purple and black one?
I'll never tell.
Our first holiday as a couple, my dad did buy Eric a basketball from Costco as part of his present, and just said,
Nice.
"I don't know."
It was good. It was funny.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, here's some broth for Julia. How is Cammie feeling about running into Alicia? I know Julia said she didn't have a name for the character yet. How much about their relationship did you know at the time?
Shout out to your boy, fantasy name generator.
Yeah.
.com. I
Yeah.
love you.
I knew, like we talked about earlier this episode, I knew that Cammie had been kidnapped. I knew the kind of person that had kidnapped Cammie. And like, again, I say kidnapped. It was just like hey, you're coming with me. And Cammie was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, like I knew what the relationship was kind of like and like what motivated this person for taking Cammie. But I didn't know like who they were precisely. It wasn't as clear as a like Baba Rutabaga situation, but I did know like the relationship to a certain extent.
Extremely cool.
I'm imagining the inventory system from Resident Evil and from Dredge, where Smelly Hayes is like, "I got an 11-year-old space in my cargo. I think you would fit right there.
You only take 2 pieces.
You take
Yep.
2 squares worth."
Yeah, so Cammie was like the ship witch for a little while before she ended up at the hold.
Delicious.
Incredible.
A
Love
ship
this for you,
witch.
Julia.
Ship witch. I love a ship witch and I love a chip witch.
That's true. How is Cammie feeling about having to reveal some of her past to Havana in order to get him away from continuous thankful?
Mm.
Does she feel like maybe they can steer him on a slightly less scary version of the path?
Yeah. I think that since we made that decision,
Who is
Cammie has
this
been
wee
nervous.
fellow I've heard so much about? Who's that?
I don't know.
I was on board. I
right.
co-sign. I do
I
take
think-
liability for that decision.
Yes. I think that was a very difficult decision for Cammie to make. And it was a difficult decision for Julia to make because I was a little concerned that this was like going to reveal something that would turn continuous thankful against her, and that like in revealing that she might end up like I don't know, persecuted in some way. But at the same time, I think that Cammie's motivation for telling Havana about their background was very much like, okay, I don't want you to fall down the path of the people who persecuted me in the past. And like, I think you can be more and better than these people and make your own informed decisions. And so I think that was the choice that Cammie made in telling Havana about who they used to be.
Right on.
There were a lot of people in this episode were asking validation from another person, and whether that validation is true or where that comes from or whether the person asking for it had gotten a lot. Everyone asking for validation had not had it, and as soon as they found a place where they could get it, they immediately ran towards it. And Archimedes got it, and Havana got it once he opened his eyes a little bit, and Three Lips didn't, and that's kind of is why Three Lips started to spiral.
Rip Troy and Three Lips.
Rip to them. However, I did make mini chip witches, so I'm going to pop into the kitchen and grab that, and I'll be right back.
Amanda, thank you.
They're vegan.
Wow.
Hey, it's Amanda, and I need to remind you that Eric and I are going to the UK. On August 19th, we are doing a live show with Jasper Cartwright and a special guest in Manchester, England. We are so excited. You should come if you live in the UK or in Western Europe, or you just want to visit people in Manchester. Come on through. We'll be playing games, answering advice questions, and more. Get tickets at gamesandfeelings.com/live. Link is also in the description. We really want to see you there. And hey, I know we updated you on the RSS feed here in the podcast yesterday, but we made Jokins. These are joke tokens that you can give to your friends when they are being particularly funny, or keep to yourself. I keep one on my desk, and it's a really great like fidget toy to have on hand. They are a satisfying, incredible size and shape and weight. They're made of metal. They are very hefty, and it's very exciting. And 1 in every 33 orders of Jokins will also receive a coveted black pearl Jokin. So not just the gold Jokins that you are actually ordering, but also a bonus additional black pearl Jokin, just because we think it's fun and it reminds us of the researcher's delight. So you got to go check out the Jokin. Go to jointhepartypod.com/merch to check them out now. And hey, remember, if you are a patron at the $10 level or above, you get 10% off our entire merch store. So check your Patreon messages where you can get your custom link and password to that special discounted merch store. Check them out, y'all. We're so excited. Jokins are available for pre-order at jointhepartypod.com/merch. Welcome to our newest patrons, Ellen, Jess, and Grace. We are only able to make this show with all of the time and love and energy that we do because of your support on Patreon. And by the way, there was a little bit of an issue with billing on Patreon recently, so if you did not see any charges go through for the previous month, just go ahead and take a look and shoot us a message if you have any problems at all. Because you know that being a patron gives you access to our patron-only Discord, our party planning bi-weekly podcast, and all kinds of other amazing benefits. Join us at patreon.com/jointhepartypod. And shout out especially to our early access crew. You get access to every episode of the show a whole day before everybody else. And it is so cool to drop that episode and watch your reactions start to come in on Mondays, not even Tuesdays, y'all. Join us at patreon.com/jointhepartypod. This week at Multitude, we have been doing so much cool stuff over on Head, Heart, Gut, by which I mean Eric has introduced a very interesting new twist and change to the way that we structure our survey episodes of Head, Heart, Gut. You're going to have to listen to hear exactly what I'm talking about, but trust me, there is so much great stuff coming down the pike. This is, of course, our weekly debate show where we talk about the best 3 things, try to figure out the best of a set of 3 items from pop culture or the world we live in. That has included stuff like best arcade game, best primary color, best thing to do at an amusement park, and all kinds of very fun stuff coming up. Now, you have to join the multi-crew to get access to Head, Heart, Gut. It is one of the ways that we sustain our business in a very, turbulent and strange time to be making a living in digital media. We're only able to do this because of your support in the multi-crew. So if you want another weekly Multitude show, if you want to hear us debate all kinds of low stakes but high intensity stuff, you got to join the multi-crew. Go to multicrew.club to join today and get access to years worth of Head, Heart, Gut. We are sponsored this week by Ravensburger Jigsaw Puzzles. Now, I am particularly excited about this sponsor because I already own a ton of Ravensburger puzzles. My grandma and I have a puzzle swap where we send each other puzzles that we have already finished so that the other person can enjoy them. And Ravensburger, truly, you can see the difference in the quality of their puzzles. They have huge attention to detail and really give you an amazing puzzling experience. They actually date back to 1883, and I know all kinds of people and families, including my own, who have had Ravensburger puzzles as a intergenerational, through line and activity for decades. So whether you are doing kind of like a mindful activity for yourself, or you are doing an activity with somebody older or younger, or friend or family time, you got to check out what Ravensburger makes. Whether you are going for, again, something that's doable in a little bit of time, maybe with a younger family member, or a puzzle that goes all the way up to 40,000 pieces. I have to see it to believe it. That thing is massive. Go shop Ravensburger today. Go to your local game store, or you can even get them on Amazon. Again, that's Ravensburger Jigsaw Puzzles. Finally, this show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, sometimes in life we are faced with tough choices where the path forward isn't always clear. I find this happens to me a lot, actually, and I get overwhelmed with the things that are in front of me, or I kind of stick to a comfortable default because I'm worried about what might happen if something new were to go on. And whether I'm dealing with big choices that I want to talk through with someone who is, removed from the situation and trying to help me advocate for what will be best for me, or I'm trying to talk about small things in the day-to-day and say hey, what are some strategies? How can I get less overwhelmed with the stuff that's on my plate? That is something that I go to therapy for. And when I could not find a therapist that took my insurance, or was affordable, or was accepting new patients, or was remotely commutable from my house, I used BetterHelp, which is an entirely online way to access therapy. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/jointheparty today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/jointheparty. And now let's get back to the after party. All right, folks, we are back, and I hope you enjoy your chip witches.
I am.
Good. Oh my god. Mine tastes
Yum.
like Cammie.
Ew. Yeah.
Ew.
Chamomile.
Oh, it's chamomile. I don't like it. It's flowery.
Oh, okay.
Let's get into episode 17, where we had our big nerd walking tour. Folk sonas for me, and a past secret for Brandon. Round 2 of the Bullseye games. And of course, Troy unfurling his wings at the end. And for me, the favorite collaboration that us players have done, as we sort of colluded behind the scenes to figure out what our duo paired session tricks would be,
Yes.
before revealing it to Eric in the moment.
Mm-hmm. It was very fun. I think someone asked a question about how we went about doing that. Do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's from Sneaky Sloths. Ooh, they're sneaking
A second
in.
sloth.
A second sloth.
There are multiple sloths. We have a
Okay.
malignant sloth and a sneaky sloth.
Incredible.
Dang.
I
All right.
think all sloths are sneaky because they're so slow, right? Or they ought not sneaky because
They're
so
not
You
slow.
see him
Sneaky.
coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So they say, did Amanda, Julia, and Brandon come up with their performances independently and then come prepped with a surprise for Eric for this arc? Did they get time during the session to come up with it, or did they prep prior to the session?
We prepped
Well-
prior.
Eric's very magnanimous and said, hey, this is going to happen next time. So over the next week, talk to each other, figure out what to do.
And we did.
Yeah.
And we did.
As related to how I've been calling this the slam dunk contest, it's related to the thing that they do in the NBA All-Star game where, people prepare slam dunks that they have, but then they have to execute it, right? So it's like you can prepare to do whatever you want, but I am going to call for rolls to see how it all comes together. But don't tell me what it is. Don't tell me what it is. I want to be surprised. Then that's what happened.
And can I say, I'm so glad that the format of the games, Eric, that you have prepared for us involve all of us, because I was so worried at first that it would just be like, all right, Troy shoots many arrows over and over. And like, 1, that's boring. 2, that's a lot of pressure on me. And 3, it means that I would feel like I was hogging airspace and like not letting, my crewmates and my, friends and colleagues on the podcast like have some time. So I'm really glad we all got to have a hand on the ball, and none more so than in round 2.
Amanda, I'm in our group chat and you literally said every time Troy has a character moment, I'm like, oh no, I hope Brandon and Julia don't think I'm hogging the spotlight.
I know.
To which both of us were like, what are you talking about? We love it so much.
Yeah, there's no better feeling than hearing a Troy reveal.
Well, thank you.
Hey, is there a players group chat, and does it have a name?
It doesn't currently have a name, but it could.
Could.
I mean, it's just a DM.
I think it's Troy and the Riptides is what our group chat is.
But specifically, I love that Cammie and Umbi both got to use proficiencies of theirs. And Julia and Brandon as people in our round of celebrity, which was incredible and the highest my adrenaline's been in more than a year. But in this contest specifically, I think each of us kind of came to the table with like stuff we think is cool that we would like to do. And then we tried to figure out how to like fit all those things together in 2 separate rounds.
Yeah. I think I ended up telling you that I had a spell that we didn't end up using, which was a spell called Psychedelics, which is original to Valda's Spire of Secrets, which is, for a moment, the colors around you shift in a rainbow swirl before coming to rest far from their original hues. The colors of all creatures and objects you choose within range change randomly and remain brightly and unnaturally colored for the duration.
So good.
Which is kind of fun.
Good.
And then Amanda gave me like some suggestions based off of stuff that I sent her. And then she said, this one's extremely funny. And then I said, I pick spells for shenanigans, which is true.
Eric, Helen, Book Queen 101, wants to know, how did the scoring work for the second round, both in terms of the crew's performance and also the other competitors? And did you know the scores of the other competitors before the PCs performed?
Yeah,
I'm curious about that too.
I had percentages in my head, much like round 1. I think it was also relative to how you all did. I think, you can think about this in any sort of like, hey, so imagine you're doing Wii bowling, right? It's like,
okay.
It's like,
hang on, Eric, let me put on my safety strap. Excuse me.
Yeah, put on the safety strap for your Wii. It's like, I have an idea of what the hardness level is and how well certain characters will do. Like, hey, Radbert isn't actually that good at any of the stuff that's happening, right? In either Three Lips.
Interesting.
How dare you?
And and then I did some charisma rolls on behalf of a lot of the other people as well. I thought that this was definitely the one that was the most open. If you all did something that was truly incredible, then you probably would have taken first, as is what happened. Because, I didn't have any like straight up bards for this one, which is certainly a way I could have taken one of the characters, but I didn't because
you fucking hate bards.
I didn't say that. Julia said that. So
it was an accusation.
Yeah, and I think I also rolled for Continuous Thankful specifically, who really beefed it, and especially because Cammie was messing with them. So that was also part of it. So that one specific, I thought Continuous might pull it out, but his confidence was incredibly shaken.
Yeah, that was one of the hexes that I pulled specifically for shenanigans. Like, I got to learn a new hex when I leveled up last time, and I was like, oh, I could, do another debuff. I could do something. I'm like, oh, Scurry.
Scurry's incredible. Scurry's absolutely incredible.
So every time you use it, Julia, it's just like warms my heart.
It's so good. I love it so much.
Yeah. So yeah, I just vibes, and also I rolled some dice, but you deserve the number 1 spot, truly.
Yeah.
I love the idea that it's possible that we had, in Eric's opinion, would have been like, that shit both of y'all did was really boring. You got last place.
Yeah.
It was the rolls, though. Like,
no, I know.
If someone would have choked, I mean, that's what happened with Continuous Thankful, right? Is like, you have multiple tries, but it's certainly less impressive the number of times you do it. Similar to the NBA All-Star game and the dunk contest.
Yes. True facts.
Barbells for Barbie, incredible username,
Great.
wants to know, what would Umbi have done if someone else had gotten the truth serum, or if he had by mistake?
Yeah, let's go back there. Here's the thing that Brandon does. Sometimes Brandon says, "Hey, I'm stealing your camera. It's mine now." And then Brandon just starts taking some footage of
And I'm gonna pawn it for cash.
He goes out and starts shooting skate videos. And I'm like, "Where? I need my camera back."
Mm-hmm. No, but it gave us like the great opportunity to finally like learn more about Kid Cervantes, who like admittedly is the most mysterious of the competitors at the moment.
I just want to say I had no idea any of that was coming. Not even even an inkling. No way.
I mean, I didn't either. I kind of made it up on the spot while we were figuring out what to do, but that's why it wasn't a very fleshed out game.
It's just like, I'm pouring stuff into potions. Drink one.
But yeah, I mean, like there was definitely a opportunity, I guess, for Eric to be like, Kid Cervantes doesn't want to play a game with you, and I would have been like, okay. Not that Eric would do that, but
from the classic podcast improv school of shut the fuck up, you're dumb.
Yeah. But no, I would have answered the questions that Eric asked me. I don't know. Like, I think it was a genuine, just like, let's see what happens, and it'll be funny one way or the other.
Truly.
I'm glad I got to participate in that, and that it worked out so great.
Incredible.
Did I know that Kid Cervantes didn't have a mouth the whole time? No. Did I know that Kid Cervantes has never spoken before I said it? No.
I said that out loud. I was like, Kid Cervantes hasn't spoken yet. And you're like,
No. I knew he does not speak. He has not spoken. I knew that. But did he not have a mouth the whole time? I'm not sure. I'm certainly not sure about that. And then when I said that and Julia was like, "That's so wild," I'm like, "Nice, okay, I'm just gonna pursue that. That's gonna be cool."
I love it. I love a fucked up thing, as we know very well.
Yeah, I think I also just wanted to establish that he has been out and about for a long time. I know that like immediately Troy was like, "I'm the best sharpshooter in the Great Salt Sea." It's like, okay, sure, Troy, but like,
sure, but you're
you know
not,
who
bro.
might be Kid Cervantes, like right, like notably. And so I really wanted to take that opportunity to establish from him that like he's been
here
around.
Before. Yeah. The fact that he's won 7 out of 10 of the last Bullseye games is wild.
And especially because as we said, they're non-sequential, so it could have been over any amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The listeners want to know, and so do I. How did he not die those 3 times?
Because he won. What do you mean?
No. He won 7 out of 10 times.
Those 3 times. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to see how the duels go, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
And also, as Three Lips said, he's like, most of the time they don't die.
Yeah. But 10% of the time, that would count.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's also the fastest dodger in the West or something.
Possible.
Potentially.
Queen Vania wanted to know, was Kid's mouth sewed shut like Hocus Pocus, or did he just not have one before?
I included that for the Hocus Pocus reference. No, he was not sewed shut like that.
Billy
Bones
or whatever the fuck his name is.
He just did. Kid Cervantes just didn't have one.
Speaking of grabbing the camera, Tattooed and Tall wants to know, I'm picturing the day 2 text on the black screen with sound and effect, a la The Hunt for Red October. Can you please confirm and deny? Sub question from Amanda. What?
It's just like really,
it's a movie.
Really dramatic like text coming up. There's a meme that goes around that's like 72 hours until the end. Any sort of text that pops up.
Okay.
I have the dumb Marvel text in my head that's like Milan.
Great.
So you could have done that for day 2. Any of that stuff.
Yes. Okay. Unprecedented Tides. Great names, folks. You're getting through today. Says, if Amanda is a russet potato with glasses on all the eyes,
Hilarious.
Brandon is a slightly wilty bunch of celery, and Eric is a lumpy heirloom tomato, what kind of green folk is Julia?
Oh, interesting. What am I? I think I'm like a stout rosemary bush.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
cute. I like that.
Cute. Maureen, Davy Jones's stalker, wants to know, does Verda Stello have a witness protection program? And if so, will Troy be entering it now?
Interesting.
And Casey, 3 kobolds in a trench coat, says, how did Troy feel both during and after flying? Was it like a part of you returning? Was it bitter when it ended? And so I know we talked a little bit about this before, but Troy has never experienced that before. It's not a thing he ever thought he would experience. I think the Royals and the Crags don't fly very often because it does make you a bigger target.
Mhm.
And like that is real. And that is why he wears his wings closed.
Sorry, let me
because
look
it
at the
genuinely-
big book of royal people. Let me just take that
Mhm.
off the
Mhm.
shelf.
Mhm.
Hold on.
Flip.
Sorry, I had to moisten my pointer finger.
Sure,
I mean,
right.
I'm sure that there was like a Luna moth who wanted to show their prowess in battle,
Yeah.
and then like got shot down by 1,000 arrows.
You're like, thank you. You're glowing and it's nighttime.
Oh,
Great.
love that. Love that.
The
Love
dream.
that for us.
Eric, how do you feel? And like, do you like Shard Lemaine?
Yeah,
Like,
well, that's what they.
Rainbow Shard.
I mean, that's what they called him after he got shot down by 1,000 arrows.
Wow. Wow.
More like shot Lemaine, am I right?
There it is.
Gets kicked out of the local bar.
That was actually Brandon. The king's name was Waterloo because it was his Waterloo when he got shot down by 1,000 arrows.
So, folks, let's get now into some game character, world and podcast questions. Mel118 wants to know, who's your favorite NPC and why is it Frambois?
She's pretty great. I like her a lot.
Do we have a fave now? How are you feeling? Is there an emerging person?
An
you
actual
like?
fave?
Yeah.
So
Well,
hard to
personal.
say.
Who do people like?
I mean,
I
I like
don't
them
know.
all. That's like
I-
hard to pick, but
Harold is my bussy queen. I love him.
Mm. Mhm.
Fair.
I mean, I love Aubergine. I love
Yeah.
Aubergine. Like that's a classic. But I genuinely like them all. I think they're all very distinct and very good, and fun to be around.
I am definitely loving Frambois, this arc in particular. And I liked Archimedes' turn to like, haha! That's been very good for me.
Yeah, I think I'm enjoying Archimedes and Frambois the most, considering how it's from things that you all did and said.
Yeah.
Remember, Frambois didn't exist until we decided that there is a French-speaking separatist colony in the Crags.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm sure that will not affect the plot at all.
Not at all. Why would it?
Yeah. Frambois I'm enjoying in Archimedes for sure. I'm also really enjoying Lucky Edie. I said it before, Amanda, but I just like dropping Lucky Edie in to make people mad.
Mm-hmm. Incredible.
Our Lucky Edie is when a season of a television show eventually becomes about Hollywood. That's my version of that.
Yeah. Lucky Edie's the real Emily Slaughter of this campaign.
True.
The postmaster, library chick, wants to know.
Hey.
Now that we've been introduced to 3 card Manny, how do we play it? And how does it differ from 1 card Manny? Here's the answer, postmaster. I forgot
More cards.
what it was called.
Yep.
And I
that's
said
it.
3, but I meant 1.
Yep.
So I think 3 card Manny is when 3 players of 1 card Manny get together and you play like, what is the thing I'm thinking of, Eric, where like you go all around in a circle where like you challenge person to your right and the person to your right challenges the person to their right. I don't know. I guess just you go around the circle and you each play 1 card Manny, but there's 3 of you.
Oh, sure. I like the idea that 1 card Manny is played between 2 people, but 3 card
Yes.
Manny is for 3 people, and it grows exponentially.
Yep.
Interesting.
I like that.
I like that vibe.
Kiru, Cheshire Kiwi Cat says, some world building questions. What is the clockwise order of nations on Verda Stello?
Oh, that's
And
a
I
good
think
question.
the reason they wanted to know is because they ask as well, do the non-bordering nations have any relations at all?
That's a good question. I don't want to. In my head, the Crags are in the east, and Overstock is in the north,
Hmm.
and the Fields are in the west.
Which means hothouse.
Which means Hothouse is in the south.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
I just kind of, that's just my vibe, in that like my math
Mhm.
folder is red. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah. It should be blue. But
I mean,
okay.
I don't know why I said that. My
no, math is definitely
English
red.
English is
red.
red.
English is
I don't
red.
know why I
Okay.
said
English
that.
is
All
red.
right. All right.
Or yellow.
Social studies is yellow, Julia. Come on.
No,
Yeah.
social studies purple.
No,
You
social
had
studies
purple?
yellow.
Wow, must
have
be
purple.
nice. So that's just vibes. But I think that the second question, non-bordering nations, yes, I think that there is some sort of council meeting between representatives of all of the countries that meet in one of the cities in one of the countries that are kind of on a rotating pattern. There's probably like a parliamentarian, similar to the way that the speaker worked in Campaign 1. just to like.
I
talk
think
about
that's
stuff.
also like, non-bordering countries can still trade and stuff like that. So I imagine that trade is still important to, like the crags and open fields probably have a trade relationship of some
Yeah.
kind.
Well, Julia, great segue. Thank you. Because Kira's next question is, what was the primary form of international travel before the Cascade dried up?
I mean, there's stuff. There's plenty of stuff.
Caravans?
Yeah, you could get in a truck.
Well, Eric, yeah, it totally feels like there would have been, protected trade routes or something, or even if people weren't gallivanting all over, the world with no respect for national borders, they still had, like very established ways that you could get between places.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering if, like, a la the Silk Road, if everyone goes back and remembers world history, I wonder if there's, like, a big ringed road that you can take that's supposed to be, like, a protected trade route, like it may be called the Golden Circle or something, especially because the people in Overstock need to get it to places. So that's 100% true. And there's probably some weird tech that comes out of the various places. We have all these different energy sources and things. It's like, I mentioned having a truck in Dr. Radish's thing. So it's like, similar in One Piece, right? It's like there are these big ships and there are cannons and there is mass media, but the way instead of a telephone, there are big snails. And it's like, it's weird.
Sure.
And there's not the internet, but there probably is whatever stuff you need to get around for quote unquote modern society. It exists.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I was imagining too the whole time was sort of a Silk Road type thing.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I like the idea that it's like a golden, or maybe it's, I don't know. We'll have to think about what exactly the thing is, because the people it's about what the people say about the merchants from Overstock. Like, what are they mainly trading, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's like
Interesting.
Speaking of history, you guys are nailing it today. Is there any history of great wars between nations that green folk kids learn about in school?
Oh, there's gotta be.
for sure.
Definitely.
There has to be some general weirdness about both the crags and open fields. About like being very nervous about going in there. Yeah, I think that both of them have stories about the weirdness going on, and a lot of it is true, but a lot of it is blown up. I was thinking about I mean, this is coming up. I keep thinking about us talking to Claire Albin, who is a Nazi historian, and the interview is going to be on Spirits and Games and Feelings. And she was just talking about all the weird stuff that the Nazis really did, and the main thing that the American government came out as propaganda is like, they love demons. They're trying. Hitler's possessed by a demon. It's like, you could have said all of their real weird things, but you chose that one instead.
They really thought they were descendants of Atlantis. Like, come on.
Yeah.
They were really trying to bring back extinct animals. That's wild. And like, I think that it's probably like that, something that's sanitized that makes them weird, except for the real weird things going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%.
There are companies trying to bring back extinct animals now. We're gonna get sued for libel.
No, Dr. Alban was like, in itself, not a bad thing, but they were really committed to it.
They were like, they wanted to bring back like weird horses
from Germany.
Yeah,
like German horses. German animals.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Extinct German horses. That was their vibe.
Megafauna that only existed in the Black Forest.
Yeah, Eric, Aryan animals. Anyway.
Eric, save that for Le Mans.
That's in my brain, don't worry.
And Kira's final question, does the crew know who previously owned the Sea Whip? This is a great question.
I mean, we probably know who we stole it from, right?
Well, I don't know. I saw this question too, and I was like, do we? I don't know.
I think character-wise we do. Player-wise we don't.
Yes. Our characters know. I'm imagining a real kind of like forced retirement situation. Like we stole it from some lovely like old, merchant or pirate who was like near retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, great, that hunk of junk's off my hands. And, then we get to sail away with it. And we're like, great, nobody cares about this guy, or person. Like nobody, is going to want them. And the person gets to cash in their insurance money or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there's also the option where we just like, we're at a dock or like at a marina and there was a bunch of boats and we just like, we're like, well, that one looks like no one is paying attention to it. Let's take that one.
agree with
But
Brandon.
I mean, there's like definitely paperwork or ownership papers
I have to push
on the
back and
ship.
say specifically, you have all three said you have intentionally not looked at the paperwork to keep plausible deniability.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yep.
Okay.
And,
There's a
and
ghost
you
in
even
that room,
said that it's
Julia.
haunted to make sure no one goes in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if we believe that it's haunted, but that's what we
Troy
tell
does.
people so they don't go in. Yeah, of course Troy
Yeah.
does.
Troy's like, I am afraid of some ghost. Absolutely.
But Brandon, I can definitely see us like taking the hunk of junk and leaving like several crates of oranges or some other like valuable just thing that a person might not need 100 of them, but we're
You
like,
know,
this is fair.
Totally, but I gotta put my foot down and say we're pirates, y'all.
Brandon loves reminding us that we're
At some point, we
pirates.
gotta pirate.
Stealing's fine. Stealing's fine when it benefits other people.
Yeah.
And those people can include you.
As the person watching you all like little ants moving a big leaf, I would say I think that what Brandon's saying is probably the most true. Like if someone asked you, "Hey, where'd you get the ship?" you could all remember the story of it. I remember when we got it, but I don't think you know who it is, especially because of the plot you intentionally avoided looking at. That feels like a first edition manual how to be a pirate thing. It's like a trick of the trade, being like, then the police, when they ask you what happened, you're like, I don't know.
When they give you the truth serum, you're like, I don't know who owned this. We own it now.
Exactly.
And also that gives Eric some fun if he ever wants to play with that, you know.
True.
There's
True
some
facts.
room there.
Achoo! Sorry, I sneezed.
Achoo,
I sneezed. I
sorry.
wasn't paying attention.
Here's a question that I've been saving for when we have some time to talk about it, but also the question surgeon reminded me to do it. So Michelle's question is, this is the first campaign with a belief system. What aspects of religion are you wanting to explore? Do you think your personal positions on faith will influence your characters? And the question I've been waiting for is from Alyssa Frankel early in the campaign, who wants to know everything about Judaism and Verda Stello. She says, does the theology of the planter, the puritanical faith of open fields, fit into an underlying majority Jewish NPC community? What does it mean that an Israeli folk song is part of the mythos at Crimson's Exchange? What kind of green folk was Moses?
Right. Moses.
We know Moses was big bunch of reeds that you used to make papyrus out of. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But imagine going down to the river and opening up a baby basket and there's a beet in it.
Okay, no, beet much more Jewish, yes.
Yeah.
So
Red cabbage.
yeah.
Don't look at me, Julia.
So from a world building perspective, to answer Michelle's question to me, and therefore the references I've been making that Alyssa is picking up on, like, I'm trying to make a fantasy world that isn't made by a Christian person. Like, that's inherently what I'm trying to do, is like, I'm really trying to use reference points that are not the same reference points for fantasy, which is lapsed Catholic. If you are a lapsed Catholic, all modern stories are for you, especially ones where people make the worlds to start with. And I talked to Moya to make sure that like the path was not just reskinned Catholicism, you know. I wanted it to be karmic. And, other places, other religions are incredibly strict other than Christianity, right? And I'm really trying to keep the path away from that stuff, even if Continuous Thankful is a big dweeb like a youth minister, right? In reference to the world building, I think that, like, I'm not trying to put in Jewish stuff necessarily. I'm just trying not to use Catholicism as the reference point. Yeah. So then so that's to answer Michelle's question. Alyssa's question is different, right? And I'm now just trying to pull from my reference points. Is like, I thought that the folk song was interesting, and using it instead of like, psalm readings or songs where you replace the word Jesus with the name of your son deity. You know what I mean? Like, that's just more what I'm trying. That's more what I'm trying to do. And also, the puritanical faith of the open fields, I think, is more like, lots of religions are super strict, not just the one that we come upon a lot in American life.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. And like, the theology of the planter. I've been listening to Spirit podcast for over 300 episodes.
What?
There are so many great creation myths out there that are all very similar, where one big thing or dude or person or woman or whatever spirit makes the world through some sort of divine idea.
Julia, Brandon, do you guys have any aspects of like belief, faith, ethics that you're thinking about or drawing on as you approach your characters and how they interact with people with other beliefs?
Yeah, I think that for Cammie, at least, Cammie being someone who kind of grew up in, like we said, we're not reskinning Christianity or Catholicism, but at the same time, like I am kind of approaching Cammie's background as being like almost from a sort of like Shaker Quaker background. And I think that because of the experience that Cammie had, Cammie very much approaches religion and her personal beliefs as a thing that is like, well, yes, a book does say that, but at the same time, like, clearly something is amiss here with the way that I was raised and the way that people are following that supposed teaching. And so I am going to try to approach everyone and everything in a way that is, one, true to my beliefs, but also understanding that other people have other experiences. Radical kindness is how Cammie approaches everything and everyone.
Yeah.
Except for Lucky Eating.
Yeah.
Well, understanding only
I'm
goes
kidding,
a
I'm
certain way, Brandon.
I think that's good. I kind of like that. I want you to like run down Continuous Faithful as someone who is like unshakable, as opposed to someone who's like, well, I've been out here in the world, and that's not how anyone should do anything. And I think that like, I'm just going to say that like, hey, you're not going to go fight the Pontifex eventually, It's like, that's not the kind of story I want to tell. I know.
Good news if you want to. There's a lot of
a lot of those
options for you out there.
exist. They certainly do.
I, as just a human, am pretty against religion in general. So I was like, the only thing that really came up to me, religion-wise, was like when we were when we were creating our characters, I wanted to choose the background that had the most interest to me, and that was sort of the theological approach that Overstock had. So I've been sort of envisioning Umbi and the Overstock folks as sort of like theologians that are like literal like masters and PhD people who are studying it from like a historical and like a language perspective, and like they believe it, like the people at Overstock believe it, Umbi believes it, but like it's an approach that like most devout or devotees like don't approach it that way. Because I find that stuff interesting. Like I always find like the study of the Bible is fascinating, or the study of any religious text is very fascinating, but like I don't actually care what it tells me to think.
Yeah.
Fair.
And I am in my religious euphoria era and caring very deeply about like what the Torah wants me to think. And so the questions that Troy is grappling with about like personal responsibility, and like when you wrong somebody, it's in Judaism, it's not about them forgiving you, or you're not like owed forgiveness. It's like up to the person who did something wrong to like fix the rift in the universe that they caused by doing that. And so, I think Troy is doing a lot of growing up, and, in parallel with the stuff that I'm like, reading and thinking about, saying, what is my responsibility here, and how do I do right? How do I define what I want and what's success for me, and, what I owe the people around me, and just what I owe the world as like being part of it. And all that is really fascinating. And I'm loving, working some of it out in the avatar of a himbo butterfly gunslinger. All right, folks, are we ready here to spoil the plank?
Yes.
Yarr!
I've asked.
Sorry, wait.
We didn't talk at all about Smelly Hayes dying, and now I feel a little bit bad about that. But that was truly like one of the most buck wild things that I had to like emotionally react to, but also thought was fucking hilarious.
I mean, it's all on the tape, baby.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about it in the next after party, because something's gonna happen next, and
Right.
It'd be good to
That's
see
true.
how it closes.
It was really the only thing I'll say there is that it was really fun putting an old-fashioned trap into my Dungeons and Dragons game.
He was like, surprise, dungeons traps
We were like,
in your
wait.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Consequences for our actions? What?
I rolled so many dice.
I know.
I think I
It was
rolled 20,
genuinely
or
terrifying.
I think did I say it's like 16 D6s or something like that?
Yeah.
More than a handful.
It's because, so the way that trap worked, just really quickly, is that if, as you fell, and this happened to Cammie just bucked it immediately. Every time I said it, it's like it got harder and harder to stop falling, so it just kept happening, and then bing bang boom, your head's backwards. That's what happens.
Yeah, there was a
That's
point
pretty
you said
bad.
on tape where there was no way that she could have actually succeeded on the roll. So you
Yeah,
were
the
just trying to
DC
get a nat
increased
20.
by 2 every time, and she got up to 21, which she simply couldn't roll.
Yeah, after
Brutal.
failing, it's like I'm just trying to get nat 20s, and then I couldn't,
Mhm.
and then so there I am.
Yep.
It's so funny
Make
to me
sure it
because you've
happens.
trained us as players to not stress about, like, to not be like the timid D&D player that's like, worried about like, oh, is this
Yeah.
pebble in front of me going to explode into a giant monster and kill us all? And then you got us.
You got me specifically.
Hey, this was also up to Cammie to take only an NPC with her. So that was also interesting. Is like a lot of this stuff is not up to me,
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of threads here, and I will tell you, one of the questions was like, how far in advance do we record? The answer is usually 4 or 5 episodes at a time. We record one each session, but we're typically about a month ahead of the release schedule. And guys, shit happens. Don't worry. There's going to be a lot of the Spoil the Plank questions have answers coming up very soon.
Yeah.
So let's run through it. Zeroka says, is the Warforged salmon from Camp-Paign 1 the wish-granting salmon? That's what I've been picturing in my head the whole time.
I'm gonna say probably not, but who can
I think
say?
we can say
There is no plot through line through our campaigns, so that if you don't listen to one, you can listen to the other. But headcanon accepted.
Who can say?
The question surgeon: how old was Cammie when she was first kidnapped / invited onto the open seas?
Probably like 15 or 16, I'd say.
Good. That's interesting. Okay, it's less kidnapping if she's that age. I thought she was like 12.
Well, I mean, she was 12 when she left open
Oh, that's right,
fields.
that's right.
I think that by the time that they got kidnapped, it was a different, like, they had been working in a tavern doing tea reading and cleaning up for room and board for maybe a couple of years at that point.
Yeah, there was a lot of renditions of Master of the House that were sung in the in-between.
Correct.
Yeah, don't get Nani started with that soundtrack. Casey says, will there be guest players at any point in this campaign? I'd love to hear Jasper play a green folk and get his take on this fantastic world.
Who can say?
Who can say?
Seems good. Seems like we should do that.
Seems like a great idea.
Seems like a good idea. Seems good. Tess Myers wants to know, did the Crag send Three Lips specifically to fuck with Troy? And does him being royal have some effect on how he can perform in the games?
Who can say?
Who can say?
Yeah.
Westy Imposter Jess says, a key to end your days or something along those lines would finish the key rhyme, and I don't like that at all.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Don't give him ideas.
A through Z says, why does Troy accept Three Lips talking to him that way? Three Lips has been giving him nothing, and why can't he stand up for himself? This is really interesting to me.
It's his bro.
A lot of people wrote in and said, why would Three Lips betray Troy like that? And I think that's an interesting reading to what happened, and we'll see what happens after this.
I don't think it's a betrayal, but what do I know?
It's just a complicated emotional. Yeah, like they have feelings, and everyone has selfish feelings and selfless feelings, and it's about the battle between those two.
Yeah.
And finally, what I want you guys to picture is like you're being sent to walk the plank. Okay, terrifying.
Okay.
But we're pirates with a pirate code. So we do offer you one final little like fortifying meal before you do go off the edge, and it's a little cup of question broth from Malignant Sloth.
Oh, delicious.
Does Troy regret saving Three Lips from the shipwreck now?
Does
No,
he?
but who can say? Who can say? And what does Cammie think she saw in Rathbert's tea leaves? I know they were deceiving him, but I'd love to know what she actually thinks. What about him smelling like resurrection magic with something else underneath? How about Three Lips' mission? Was his mission to expose Troy? Make Troy confront his destiny? What is Rathbert doing?
Who can say?
I can't. I don't know.
I know that I've said it on microphone in future episodes. I'll say that much.
Whee! And now we all take a beautiful swan dive off the Spoil the Plank. That's it for this after party.
Yay! Splash.
Splash.
Cute. Thank you so much for your questions. Guys, shit is popping off. If you thought these episodes were eventful, you don't know the half of it. It is a great time to be a Join the Party listener and a great time to invite your friends on this journey. We're only 18 episodes in, folks, and it's about to get wild. It's about to get choppy on these seas.
It's about to get choppy on these seas, Amanda.
Let's go.
Get choppy on the seas.
Wee.
Amazing. Well, until next time.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Buy a Jokin. Do it. Buy a Jokin.
Ooh.
Bye, Jokin.
Avast ye.
And may your rolls turn ever upward.
I'll sing you a song that all green folk know.